boy, does Texas got its armpit in this one, guys. Let me tell you. So, in
Mm-mm.
well, this particular news that comes from NBC, it's basically talking about how the government can't mandate coverage for drugs that prevent HIV infections, is what a Texas federal judge rules. And it was actually published on September 7th, 2022 by Benjamin Ryan and Corky Samasco. I believe that that's their name. If I did butcher it, I do apologize. So, what is this whole story about? Well, the story comes in Texas specifically, where a district judge named Reed O'Connor ruled that from a lawsuit filed by Jonathan Mitchell, a former Texas solicitor general and a conservative activist, on behalf of Braidwood Management Inc. and other self described Christian employers and employees, that PreP, which is a HIV prevention drug, mandated coverage through the ACA, not the Atheist Community of Austin, but the Affordable Care Act, is
The other
unconstitutional. I had
ACA.
to,
Right.
the other ACA, yes, I had to make that distinction. So, he ruled that certain drugs that prevent HIV medication or HIV infections rather violate the religious beliefs of a Christian owned company. So that's basically the gist of it. People who want this particular drug in Texas, if the company says that they don't want to cover it for religious reasons, then they don't have to. And there you go. So I think that we should go ahead and just
Hmm.
start having a discussion about it. What you guys think about this thing?
This seems like a little bit of like I don't understand this idea that the guy you have to check your employment for whoever's in charge and see what religion they line up with to see what kind of medication you can be getting with your
Yeah.
health care. It's like so far removed from the way healthcare should act. It's already a mess that healthcare is associated with your job, but now you got to check who's in charge in order to make your choices on. And it's already hard enough getting a job as it is. Healthcare should be something that's
Right.
between the patient and the doctor until Jesus is coming into your examination room and healing you of whatever you have. He really has no place making decisions about anybody's health. It's very ridiculous. It's definitely just something, it's bigotry. That's all that it is. And I don't understand how healthcare can get around bigotry because somebody says, Jesus told me this is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I exactly agree. Like, what if your boss was a Jehovah's Witness and you needed a blood transfusion, and they're like, "Oh no, 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 we don't believe in that, so you're out of luck." Or what if your boss was a Muslim and forbade BLTs in the country in the company lunchroom? Like, would these Christian nationalists feel the same? Of course not. Let's not fool ourselves, and let's not fool ourselves either about the fact that Muslims banning BLTs, they would if they could. It's this whole thing reminds me of the Abigail Adams quote that all men would be tyrants if they could, but in this case, we're substituting the word faith for men. I don't know. What do you think, What do you think, Cindy?
Yeah, I think this is clearly targeting LGBTQ people. There's no other purpose for this law. Uh, there is a war right now against LGBTQ people in the Anglo-Saxon countries, and one of the major reasons, from what I can see, is that the 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 right has no political platform anymore. They don't stand for anything. They only oppose things they don't like, and so for that
Yeah.
they target minorities all the time. We see this law targeting gay people. We see other laws targeting trans kids, sending parents because they take care of their kids. Texas is, uh, uh, I I hate to say it, but it's a shithole country right now. There's no other word. There's no other word for that. I mean,
Wow.
how insecure and petty and coward you have to be to attack minority people to stay in power.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I like what you said about they don't stand for anything, they just oppose things at this point. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Cynthia.
Yeah, I just want to just bring a little bit more context concerning this particular story. So the lawsuit the Jonathan Mitchell brought actually challenged the provision that required for employers to actually cover these particular drugs, specifically Truvada and Descovy. Those are the ones that are actually FDA approved to actually prevent HIV, and they work. That's the great thing about it, is that they actually work. So if you really just
Yeah.
think about that, HIV/AIDS is still a global uh, epidemic. You still have millions of people. I believe the last time I checked AIDS.gov, you still have about 36.7 million people worldwide that are currently living with HIV. And you had about 35 million that has died since 1981, when we actually coined the term acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So when they actually came up with a drug that could prevent the transmission of HIV from one person to another, um, that was like a game changer, because now it's basically a way for you to use an additional prophylactic, or in a form of an actual medication. And and the thing about it is that even though that mostly uh, men are on this particular drug, or cisgender men who happen, and most of them may be gay or bisexual, but it's not limited to just men. You have trans people who take it, and women, cisgender women, can take it too. Matter of fact, one of the things that I was advocating for is to really have more exposure, specifically for cisgender women, to get on PreP as well. Because, like, especially like in the African American community, one of the highest infection rates for HIV are amongst Black women. So, knowing that this particular drug can definitely assist in making sure that the people who are on it are not going to get HIV is a game changer. And it's and I don't completely understand what Bible verse that a Christian company is going to be using to not cover a drug that can possibly save people's lives. I, last time I checked, Jesus went around healing people that were sick. I mean, like, I personally don't want to have someone spit in dirt and then make it in mud and stick it on my eyes so I can see. But still, seeing like that, Jesus was an advocate for healthcare. So why wouldn't the
True.
this
True.
this particular person, be a like Jonathan Mitchell and of his ilk, not want to be able to have these covered. And the crazy thing about it is that you know PrEP and HIV medications, like antiretroviral treatments, and retrovirus treatments rather, are very expensive without insurance. Like, even like your normal ART could be for a 30-day supply without insurance or any type of like patient assistance program, could be over $3,000 easily. you know and there are different programs that are sponsored, at the federal level, for people to be able to get like PrEP, and also and also like HIV treatment medication with little to no cost. But those programs are state ran. So if you have a judge in Texas that are saying this, there is an actual additional barrier that's going to be placed in front of being able to get this particular drug, and there's no reason for it whatsoever.
Yeah, in my research, I saw that
Yeah.
Truvada was like nearly $2,000 a month without insurance for people. It did mention that there was like
Yep.
over-the-counter alternatives for it, but you shouldn't have to go
Hmm.
for over-the-counter. They should be covering across the board for something like this. This definitely does seem to be something like this seems to like anything from the LGBTQ community seems to be on attack right now, and it's like they don't need to justify it because their base, the base that attacks them, they respond to these kinds of attacks, and then but like this goes beyond just just their employment, because if people have a hard time getting these drugs, it can like open up into the community beyond just the people that are employed. Other people can come in contact with these people, and this drug has as close to 100% as you can possibly get with a drug at stopping HIV. It said 99% rate for stopping it for men and 90% rate for stopping it with women. That's an
Those
incredible
are
rate with drugs. Like this was like,
those are good numbers.
yeah, this was horrifying in the 80s. Like everybody looked upon it as a death sentence, and now we have something that's getting it under control, and it seems like they're trying to like use it, bring it back to the 80s so that they can wipe out a minority that they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this religious freedom has become just a trash in which you can throw anything you don't like. As soon as you want to prevent something that makes you uncomfortable, you say it's my religious uh, feelings are hurt by this, and so it goes under my protection, and so I can. Just get rid of it thanks to the law, and the law allows it, and that's a loophole the US needs to take care of right now, like
Yeah.
50 years ago right now.
Yeah, your discomfort does not outweigh my human rights. Absolutely.
Right. I totally agree with
Yeah,
that. But
Cynthia,
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I agree with you, Cindy. I know that one of the things that Biden wanted to do was try to find ways to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, especially to close any type of loophole specifically that could prevent employers from being able to help cover these types of drugs, especially when uh, HIV, AIDS, or any of those things, that's not a gay disease. It's just a disease, and anybody can get it. And there's
yeah.
many ways that a person can acquire HIV, and it's not just through sex. So, matter of fact, the person that kind of was like even the game changer in of itself to start getting government research money involved with HIV was Ryan White, because he got it through a blood transfusion, and he was a child when it happened. So, and matter of fact, I think I mentioned this on one of the previous programs that I have a patient right now who has HIV, but they got it through a blood transfusion in 2019 because of negligence of the hospital that they
Wow.
were getting treated for anemia. So it's not something that it, even though it's not as commonplace now that people can get it through blood transfusions, but it's not completely impossible. And I do appreciate this particular quote, because one of the things that I also read in the article is that this Judge O'Connor person happens to be like the go-to judge that the conservatives seek in order for them to challenge
Yup.
Obamacare provisions. Like, he's the one that ruled with measures that aimed against protecting transgender students. Also, he was trying to thwart enforcing COVID vaccine mandates, and he's also known to being the architect behind the lawsuits that would I believe it says like lawsuits against suspecting people who were helping people with uteruses if they wanted to go ahead and get an abortion. Like he was the one who deputized people in order for you to go ahead and sue
The
because you
SBA.
suspect them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you suspect them for
Right.
actually getting help to get an abortion, so I can sue you up to $10,000, which is, oh my gosh, I can. There's a string of four-letter words that just want to come out of me right now, but we're just in the first segment, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that for later. But one of the things that I did like that was being said in this particular article is that increasing PreP access in the United States has been a key public health goal. And the requirement that private insurers provide PreP with no cost sharing with was a key way in which access has been promoted. And this was said by Jennifer Cates, who's the director of global health and HIV policy at the Kaiser Family Foundation. And she continued to say, however, this latest ruling would introduce a barrier that would result in less access as fewer individuals would be able to afford this critical invention. And I don't want to necessarily sound like an alarmist, but I'm going to sound like an alarmist that this can also introduce um, other ways to enforce or take away different enforcements when it comes to healthcare. Because, like, who's to say that the next ruling would be, and you don't have to cover HIV medications too, or you don't have to cover. I mean, hell, they could say and you don't have to cover diabetes medication. You don't have to cover, like blood pressure
Yeah.
medication. I mean, like anything. Like if you want to say that, hey, I'm not going
Anything
to
you
cover
don't
PrEP,
personally agree with. Yeah.
you can say you don't have to
Yeah.
cover it,
No, exactly.
and
No,
unfortunately, because of stuff like this, people will die.
you're not being an alarmist because Clarence Thomas wrote in the Roe decision that the court should reconsider all of this court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, and Obergefell. So we're talking about gay marriage. We're talking about access to contraception. We've got a Supreme Court justice literally calling for candidate cases to bring before the Supreme Court so they can codify this Christian nationalist movement while they've got the purse strings. That's exactly what this is. This guy knows what he's doing is wrong, but he's
Mm.
just hoping that this will be appealed up to the Supreme Court. He's hoping that this is going to go up there and that he can finally, he can finally get this one. He can deny services. We've already done this, like we've already had this battle, but now these guys know that they've got a stacked Supreme Court, and so they're trying to send these obviously unconstitutional cases to the Supreme Court so that they can win this battle while they've got the majority. You're totally right, Cynthia. This is the time for alarmism.
On the alarm.
Did any of you guys have any thoughts before we move? I'd also just like to say there is almost an 85% chance that this man has a picture of Ronald Reagan in his study.
I would not
I'd
take
say
you up on
90,
that bet. Yeah, this seems to be right now. We're at that point where they're in power, but they're not. They're not going with what the people want. I know the majority of the comments that I looked
Right.
up videos on this and stuff. Every comment about this is it's a horrible thing that's happening. It's against the will of the people. You can even go on you can go on
Mhm.
left, right. Everybody's angry about this, but it's the highly religious Christian nationalists that seem to be pushing all these agendas that majority of the people don't want, but they have the power right now.
Yeah, what bothers me the most and truly angers me is the cynicism here. I don't like gays. I'll make everything I can to get rid of them all, and it doesn't matter if I do a little bit of side casualties with people who are not gay but will die anyway. That's this level of cynicism is just amazing.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
just want to say that this is
absolutely.
just another example of, legislating with Christo-fascist law that's rooted in bigotry. And it's going to be another example coming very very soon. You just wait. That's why we're here. And I just also just wanted to say that these are the same people who call themselves pro-life. They're not pro-life. You may be
No.
anti-gay, you may be anti-trans, you may be anti-women, but you're not pro-life. And because I just don't understand, why would you keep away a possible life saving drug that can help millions of people?
But my final thought would be that I recently read a statistic that there are more straight people currently being infected by HIV than are LGBTQ plus people. So, if your goal is to expose these people and deny LGBTQ people access to healthcare, like, you guys are the problem at this point, right? Like, we've actually recognized the problem because we were ignored during the whole of the 1980s. And so we've taken steps to gradually ameliorate this condition. It's the straight people that are being infected now. So you're kind of traitors to your own cause at this point. But final thoughts before we move on, folks.
Just bigotry seems to care
But
more about stereotypes and actual facts on this.
yep,
Amen.
exactly.